This is a production of Cornell University.
Great. Good afternoon. I'm Kathryn Boor. I'm Dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences here at Cornell University, and it's truly my honor to welcome you all here this afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us for today's Industrial Hemp Summit. It's truly a pleasure for me to welcome New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Commissioner Richard Ball, sitting here on my left. And Commissioner Ball has been just a real champion for our state's agricultural industries and for the research that's so essential for keeping our industries competitive in today's marketplace. I'm also grateful to be joined this afternoon by Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo, also here at the front table, and earlier this morning, also a champion for this initiative, Senator Tom O'Mara was with us this morning. Now, today's summit is an opportunity for Cornell experts, for experts from other universities here in New York State, for industry members to share their knowledge and to share their experience on industrial hemp's potential impact on the economy here in New York State. The conversations that we are having today are intended to help build momentum around Governor Cuomo's vision for expanding industrial hemp production here in New York. And as some of you heard me say this morning, we do have tremendous potential here in New York State for the production of industrial hemp, which really has not been grown here for decades. Now, if efficiently and economically grown, and emphasis on that, efficiently and economically grown, industrial hemp could be used to launch a wide range of New York-made goods that could include things like healthy hemp seed oils, building insulation, animal bedding, novel medicinal products. However, because hemp has not been grown commercially here in our state for so long, a great deal of research and preparation lies ahead of all of us, and this is where Cornell University and our SUNY partners come in, and we have roles to play here. For example, our plant breeders have the knowledge and the experience to advance hemp breeding and to test a range of varieties for performance here in our state. They can help determine the best growing practices for hemp here in New York and where and when and under what conditions it will flourish. Our college and our SUNY partners are committed to providing sustainable improvement in the lives of people here in New York State through our research, through our teaching, and through our outreach. And we're particularly pleased to work in concert specifically with our SUNY partners, our State University of New York system partners from SUNY Morrisville, the new School of Pharmacy at Binghamton University, and our Sullivan Community College as well. Now we are committed to exploring New York's capacity to grow industrial hemp profitably and to take advantage of new markets. And through such strategies, we can help facilitate rural economic agricultural development throughout our state. Today's summit really is only the beginning of what I hope will be a very successful venture for our state. So thank you again for joining us today to learn more about this emerging industry and how we can collectively help it grow. And so now for this afternoon, I would like to introduce our first speaker, and that's New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Commissioner Richard Ball. Commissioner Ball began his career in agriculture as a farm worker at a vegetable farm in Rhode Island when he was 18 years old. He has been the owner and the operator, that was a couple years ago maybe. He's been the owner and the operator of Schoharie Valley Farms in Schoharie, New York for the last 20 years, and that is a 200-acre farm that produces a wide range of vegetable crops and small fruits and greenhouse crops. He has held a number of very important positions with agriculture and community organizations, including the New York State Vegetable Growers Association. He was vice president, and as well with New York Farm Bureau, board of directors, member of executive committee, member of audit committee, chairman of a labor committee. Now, he has served as the commissioner of New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets since 2014, and I've been truly honored to partner with him on critically important initiatives that he's launched, from the newly reinvigorated Council on Hunger and Food Policy to the Milk Marketing Advisory Council. And we collectively strive to ensure that the commissioner can count on all of our SUNY schools to step up to the plate to assist the state and our agricultural communities. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Richard Boor.
That was a nice way of saying you got an overdressed farmer in front of you right now. But thank you. Really great to be here. It's great to see the crowd has gotten kind of energized and a little bigger. There's a lot of interest in this subject, and thank you so much, Dean. We had an awesome discussion this morning. We had the Lieutenant Governor here, and some of your elected representatives, and some of them still here. But we had a great discussion, a great summary. We looked at where the industry is now. We looked at what we've done so far. We looked at our potential. And we looked at where the opportunities for the state to intersect and help grow it. I think we're pretty much all on the same page. And to kind of summarize that, I won't talk anymore, but I would direct your attention once again to the screen. We showed a video this morning. We're going to show it again because we have a number of new people and because we like the video. So if you would, direct your attention to the screen.
For thousands of years, industrial hemp has been a valuable and versatile crop. Once a top commodity on American farms, production was driven out by other emerging industries. And eventually, the federal government made it illegal to grow. Until now. Recognizing its vast potential, the federal Farm Bill allowed states to launch pilot programs for industrial hemp research. And in 2015, Governor Cuomo announced a bold plan to put the Empire State at the forefront of the country's hemp revival.
With the type of legislative action that Governor Cuomo has led with Albany, it's making a real difference.
Partnering with SUNY Morrisville, J.D. Farms in Madison County harvested New York's first industrial hemp crop in decades. Cornell University wasn't far behind. It was made possible through Governor Cuomo's Industrial Hemp Research Pilot Program, allowing up to 10 permits to grow and research hemp as an agricultural commodity.
We studied nitrogen content in the soil, and we studied seeding rates. New York is abundant in water, abundant in arable land, and for us this crop made a lot of sense.
Hemp research is now expanding across the state.
I think hemp is not only a great opportunity for diversification on the ground, but it could lead to a lot of great job and manufacturing opportunities that we've lost sort of to globalization.
Hemp and marijuana may look similar, but make no mistake, these plants have a significant difference.
I think the major thing for people to realize is that industrial hemp is not marijuana, even though it looks like it. THC is the mind-altering drug in marijuana, and industrial hemp has very, very low levels of that.
Generations of innovators have pioneered new markets for this dynamic crop, using every part of the plant to drive growth in vital industries and boost the profitability of the agricultural sector. Today, the U.S. retail market for industrial hemp is nearly $600 million.
It makes a good insulation as well as wallboard for buildings. It would be useful for automobiles.
Pressboard and furniture bags and biodegradable packaging material.
Soaps and shampoos, cosmetic products. You shell hemp seeds themselves, they're tasty and they're a great superfood.
Now, with the support of the state legislature, Governor Cuomo is taking the program to the next level, removing the cap on the number of permits for hemp research, supporting unprecedented exploration of the crop's viability, and encouraging New York's best and brightest to discover and rediscover hemp's potential.
And as we have more opportunity to do research, I think we can just make it a better crop and a more economical crop.
Across the board, we could bring lots of industry back to New York State, put a lot of people back to work.
Hemp is really an industrial crop. It should just regain its rightful place in the American agricultural landscape.
The global demand for industrial hemp is growing, and here in New York, the possibilities are endless.
Possibilities are endless. You know, one of the words that the Dean and I like to share with each other quite a bit is collaboration. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I think when we collaborate and we have our partners here in the room and we have our partners on the same page, who can be against this? I like our chances here. The governor is very much committed to this idea. He's excited about hemp, and we talk about it on a regular basis. So this is, I just want to say from the state standpoint, we're committed to staying with this and doing the things that we need to do. So there's a vision behind all of this. there's a very practical side of it. Today's summit is, even though we've been working at this, many of you for a long time, certainly many of us at the state level for a couple of years now, coming up with the ideas and doing the necessary work to get it over the hump. We're not done yet. There's more to do, and this summit is really just the beginning. So excited to be here. The Lieutenant Governor, when we got done with our session this morning, we had a good conversation with a number of our partners. We heard some needs. We heard some things that needed to be done in order for us to take those next steps going forward. And I'm just going to summarize for you now some of the deliverables from this morning's session that are underway. As you know, the first legislation, which was sponsored by my colleague here to the left, helped us get started and allowed the department to designate some areas attached to research institutions to begin to do some work on hemp in New York State. Well, we've issued the first ever research permits to private farms and businesses. And previously, that pilot program was limited to the research institutions. But at the governor's direction, we've expanded the pilot to include private entities. So 6 of those private farms and businesses were issued permits, bring the total number of hemp research sites across the state to 10. So we've added 21st Century Hemp and RIT in Rochester. We've added Cavallaro Farms in Goshen, New York. Once again, JD Farms in Eaton, New York. Old Mutt Creek Farm in Hudson, New York. The Plant Science Labs in Buffalo. And Pre-Process in Ellisburg, New York. A couple of other things of note that we heard from our partners this morning. Going forward, we're going to seek DEA permit allowing businesses to import seed and establish a seed distribution site for international imports. We heard about the importance of seed. Importing seed is central to research in New York State. And in addition to that, we are seeking a U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency permit to import the seed. So the New York State Department of Ag and Markets will advocate to ease the federal requirements to acquire hemp seed. So that we'll be making the federal efforts as well, but in the meantime, we will hold the permit at the department. Happy to announce that we're going to award $400,000 to Cornell University to continue to expand the research. We heard that loud and clear. The researchers at Cornell's Ag Experiment Station in Geneva are going to explore the best practices for growing varieties, the best varieties of hemp, the different soil types, the various locations around the state. We've got a lot of catching up to do culturally if we're going to be successful with this crop. And the experiment station will also assess hemp seed quality for germination and weed contamination. So thank you for that. We're going to establish a hemp technical team. The Lieutenant Governor talked about this to support optimal growing and processing of hemp. The state will establish a hemp technical team consisting of our department at Ag and Markets, a liaison there, 3 Cornell cooperative extension partners, educators in the field. So we need to stay on the same page as we go forward. We're going to increase our testing capacity at the department. We heard about that this morning as a need. The department will apply for a permit to test industrial hemp for THC, which is an important part of the process, obviously. This additional lab capacity will help ensure that New York State hemp seed and other products are accepted in other states. Testing will also provide protection to the department, the growers, the researchers, that the crops meet the acceptable THC level. We're going to create a working group on top of the technical team, a working group to stay on the same page again to support industry development. It will include academic partners, key industry members, other state agencies to strengthen the hemp industry in New York State. The working group will help build relationships, share information on best management practices, regulatory requirements, and as we go forward, identify the research needs that come up. We're going to engage stakeholders in program development. So we're all partners in this. We'll seek input from farmers, researchers, industry leaders. We'll look to revise the pilot program as we need to, the regulations and the program requirements. And in addition, we'll propose changes to minimize the oversight of the research done by the educational institutions as it's appropriate. And I think this is clearly very important point to make here. Advocate for the federal policies to boost the industry. We're still restricted. We still have this cloud hanging over our head and over this industry. But the governor has an office in Washington, D.C. They're very active. They're on the same page with you and with us. They have influence with the Congress down there. For me, at the Department of Agriculture and at our other agencies in the state, we all have national relationships with other commissioners, secretaries, and directors. And that organization will also advocate and will work through those channels as well to help advance what we know to be the right direction to go in. So I think I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged at the national level. I'm encouraged certainly here at the state level. I think as you go through this afternoon, you will see the quality of program, the quality of people involved in here, and you should be encouraged as well. With that, let me introduce our partner and Assembly Member Donna Lupardo, who has sent me more emails in the last year than I've gotten from any other single source, I think. She's very focused. She's very passionate. She cares a great deal about her people, her farms, her agriculture here in New York State, and this mission. So with that, thank you, Assembly Member Lupardo.
Thank you very much, Commish. Thank you. Yes, you should have never given me that email address. That was your first problem. Well, hi, everyone. It's really very nice of you to all be here today, and you share, I'm sure, our interest and passion in this new exciting crop, industrial hemp. You know, many of us, I'm sure, in the room are old enough to have, lamented for a very, very long time that this crop was something we could not grow. And as I became more familiar with the potential of this crop, it was really unacceptable, to be honest with you, that we had a consumer demand for products. People were purchasing products. People were manufacturing products with imported materials. And it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever that we weren't able to afford our farmers that opportunity and to give manufacturers homegrown local product. And when the Farm Bill came along, which allowed New York State to become a place where we could do pilot research, Senator Amar and I jumped all over it. And it was a bit of a stretch for people. We had to go one by one with the Vote Hemp, Why Industrial Hemp sheet and explain to people right off the bat that it was not marijuana, it was a cousin, it was this, it was that. And they finally understood, especially for places like upstate New York, the enormous economic potential for not only farmers, but for manufacturers. I come from Endicott, New York, and represent Endicott and Binghamton area, which was all about shoes and computers. It was a manufacturing town, and so many places are as well. And to get the economic developers to have this come to clarity for them, that this isn't just about growing a crop, this is about producing goods and services, but making goods again in New York State. And I think that's what really began to turn people around about this. The following year, the Farm Bill gave us another opportunity to not only research this crop, but to also market it, transport it, process it, and sell it. If it were not for that particular bill, all the research crops would have had to have been destroyed, which would have been a terrible thing, because the 40 acres of beautiful hemp that you're seeing and depicted in this logo behind us at J.D. Farms was just a spectacular thing to see. And it smells pretty good too, by the way, I must say. And so we are now able to take advantage, full advantage of what they have allowed. We've stalked this at the federal level. Whatever they've allowed, we've come right behind it. Senator Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell are the sponsors of these bills, and some of our own senators, Senator Gillibrand, are sponsors of the Industrial Hemp Farming Act. You know, while they are trying to figure this out in Washington, New York State is positioning itself to be very competitive in all manner of hemp, whether it's in the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, textiles, various food, and other products that are already in the works. It's very exciting. So when the federal government does relax this, which will make it a little bit easier for us, we will have the Northeast pretty much sewed up, as far as I can tell. And all of you who are in the room who are expecting to get involved in this, I think will be very pleased with the outcome. Commissioner Ball mentioned some of the fabulous developments at the state level. We're very lucky that the state is willing to really come to assist on the DEA seed certification, seed acquisition issue, and all the rest of these considerations with research dollars coming behind it and trying to make it easier. For those of you who have been involved in the craft beverage industry, once the state got its head wrapped around making it easier for craft beverages, you have seen the results. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that this is the next thing that the governor and team are putting their full force and focus behind. It's really a very exciting time for those of us who've long wished that hemp could be receiving its due. So what I want to just say in closing is that just to get everybody on the same page, we had 10 research licenses as part of the original program, and those have all been filled. What is about to happen now as part of the recent budget is going, again, the Commissioner mentioned, there are going to be unlimited licenses available, but regs have to be established for that, so we're a little behind for this growing season, but I would fully expect, and I hope, correct me if I'm wrong, that 2018 will very likely be the year when we can see a much larger build-out among farmers who are interested. It's going to be critical, however, that those farmers understand the supply chain and are going to be growing for a particular market. So they're not just randomly growing some random cultivar, they're going to be growing for a particular market, and that market is going to have processing available. And we have in the mix proposals right now to do hubs in the area, whether it be on CBD oil or on fiber. So in 2018, you may very well be in a position to have a marriage with a particular company that wants a certain type of strain, and you may have a processor in the mix, so it's all seamless with the assistance from the state. So thanks for your patience over these years and decades for some of us who have cared about this plant. Our time has finally come, and I'm absolutely delighted to be part of it, and happy to play whatever role I need to in the future. Thank you.
This has been a production of Cornell University, on the web at cornell.edu.